Patel now, the new Chief Minister of Gujarat. Gujarat Chief Minister designate Bhupendra Patel now all set to be meeting with Gujarat Governor today at around 6 p.m. Bhupendra Patel to stake claim to form the government of Gujarat. Bhupendra Patel likely to be taking oath as the Chief Minister tomorrow. Bhupendra Patel belongs to the Karwa Patidar community. Previously, 4 Patidar Chief Ministers belonged to the Liuva Patel community. Here is Bhupendra Patel, the one-time MLA who has now been elevated to the big post of the Chief Minister of Gujarat. Gujarat Chief Minister designate now, Bhupendra Patel is also to be meeting with Gujarat Governor today at 6 p.m. Bhupendra Patel to stake claim to form the government in Gujarat in some time from now. Patel likely to take oath tomorrow. This is the information that we get on ground. Bhupendra Patel belongs to the Karwa Patidar community. Previously, 4 of the Patidar Chief Ministers earlier belonged to the Liuva Patel community. Here is Bhupendra Patel, who seems to be the main man of Anandiben. The former Chief Minister of Gujarat has now been appointed, elevated to the position of Chief Minister in Gujarat. Rajdeep Sardesai, Rahul Shrivastava joining us for more on that. Rajdeep, over to you. Of course, the Congress there saying that we don't want a change in CM, we want a change of government. Quite naturally, being the opposition that they are, taking a jibe at the BJP for changing chief ministers several times. But here is Bhupendra Patel, which the BJP reposes a lot of faith in him. Amit Shah has just now congratulated him, saying that under Bhupendra Patel's leadership, development in Gujarat will be energized. How do you look at this?
Look, at the end of the day, let's get this clear. Gujarat is run from Delhi. It is one of those states, and naturally so. You know, Mr. Modi was Chief Minister of Gujarat for 12 years before he became Prime Minister. He knows the state inside out. Amit Shah was, party chief and played various roles in Gujarat as minister for over 2 decades. So they have an intimate knowledge of Gujarat. Anyone who becomes chief minister will always turn to Delhi for guidance or for decision making. So that's clear. But a very interesting point that Rahul Shrivastava raised. In fact, we couldn't directly ask that question to Hardik, but Rahul, the question was that you've raised to me on WhatsApp is it going to be Bhupendra Patel versus Hardik Patel in 2022? Now, Hardik Patel consciously played the Patidar card in 2017 and emerged in a sense as a new X-factor in Gujarat politics. 5 years later, he's with the Congress as a working president. The question is, it's not yet certain whether the Congress will project Hardik Patel, in my view, in this election, because that may now be a big risk. The BJP traditionally has a strong Patel base, and that's the reason I get why Bhupendra Patel has been brought where he has. So I'm not sure, Rahul, in an answer to your question, whether it will be Bhupendra Patel versus Hardik Patel. I think the Congress has to rely on anti-incumbency because they don't have also any significant face in Gujarat at the moment. And if they project Hardik Patel, it will be a big gamble in my view. Your comments?
Rajdeep, I think that is a very interesting gameplay if the Congress really does it. Because if the Congress has to dent the BJP, it has to have a game plan to dent the strongest support system for the BJP. 1/4 of the BJP's vote coming from the Patel community and has been switching the contest for the BJP. In that, if there is a Patel face for the Congress who has really put the BJP on the back foot in the last election as far as the Patel vote is concerned, is Hardik Patel. So why not have a contest? There is also very interesting catch, Rajdeep, that the Kerua Patels are dominant in North Gujarat and in the Saurashtra region. And you will recall, in the Saurashtra region, the BJP took a beating in the last elections, while the Lewas are dominant in most of the Gujarat, but a specific indication is being sent to the Kerua Patels who are dominant in North Gujarat and Saurashtra. Another interesting element which I was mentioning yesterday, that till now, if you look at the kind of the cake which has been distributed among prominent leaders from Mr. Mandavia and Mr. Manjupura and others belong to one region. The North Gujarat region was not represented, and Saurashtra is a weak link. And that is why the BJP seems to have picked up somebody with a very specific target, that if there is a dent in a certain region and there is a dominant vote in that region, the BJP has picked up a leader from that very region. And that perhaps makes the contest very interesting, that the BJP, it seems, is going to make choices on a very micro-managed basis, because in the last election, Rajdeep, you had held long discussions on the nota factor, that in the early phase of the election, the BJP seems to be losing ground, and it was only because Narendra Modi threw his might in the election to make a contest between the public, reduce the public anger against the BJP. He made it a contest between him and the Congress. And that's where, you remember, the nota votes came in, that in 24 seats in that election in 2017, you had nota as one of the biggest deciding factor, that people were unhappy with BJP, but since Narendra Modi had become the face of the election, the people didn't want to cross that Lakshman Rekha against the son of the soil.